Hi, I'm Miss Lyons. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Miss Lyons. I'm Addison. Nice to meet you too.
Hi, did you find our office okay?
Yeah, it was great. Parking was easy. It was a really, easy to find office. I'm really thrilled.
Good, I'm glad. So, have you ever been to therapy before?
I have, yes, and I actually don't feel like I've had a really good connection with my past therapist. So I'm excited to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Open-minded.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're here.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, so why do you say that your past experience didn't go well?
Well, unfortunately, the first therapist I went to was a male, and I felt like he was making inappropriate sexual advances towards me.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he just made me feel really uncomfortable. He made everything about my looks, my appearance. He kept making, he would completely remove the subject from me and what I needed, and he would make it about my looks and what he thought about me, and I just didn't feel like that was an appropriate relationship, and then he eventually stopped practicing shortly after that. For that reason, I heard.
Yeah.
So it was a little unsettling, but,
Well, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and I'm glad that you're here today and you're giving it another shot.
Absolutely. I know it's kind of like a personal thing, and it has to work, it has to work both ways.
Exactly, yeah. You have to connect with your therapist, for sure.
Absolutely.
So I know that you've been in therapy before, and you might be familiar with all of this, but before we started, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about confidentiality. So whatever we discuss here is going to stay between you and I, and there's just going to be a few exceptions to that. So the only exceptions are going to be if you give me consent to share with someone else. So for example, if in our sessions you feel like you want to bring someone else here, like a parent or a boyfriend, something like that, and you give me the consent to share something with them that we've been talking about. And the other examples are going to be, so if you disclose that you're planning to hurt yourself or someone else, or if you're aware of child or elder abuse. Okay, so does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, what brings you here today?
I really just feel very lost and very alone with my romantic relationships. I feel like I keep walking myself into toxic relationships, and I keep meeting people who don't meet my goals, and who I'm constantly left feeling disappointed, or I'm left feeling like I'm giving too much. So I kind of want to figure out what all that is really about, so that way I can stop hurting myself and start developing hopefully something meaningful and nurturing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to let you know that everything you're feeling, from what it sounds like, is totally normal, and you have a right to feel that way. A lot of people go through that, and it's not something that is impossible to fix, and I really think that we're going to be able to make some progress here. Okay?
Awesome.
So I'd like to let you know a little bit about the kind of therapy we're going to be using to help you reach your goals. It's called cognitive behavior therapy. Have you ever heard of it?
I have, but I'm not too familiar with how it works.
Okay. So the idea behind cognitive behavior therapy is that the things we think, our feelings and emotions, they're influenced by that. So the way that we use this therapy is we're going to talk about your presenting problems, so your problems with men and feeling worthy and all of that. We're going to try to put a finger on the thoughts that enter your mind before and during those negative feelings. That makes sense. So if we can learn to think different thoughts, we can also feel different emotions. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So is there anything coming up this next week that you feel like might be troubling for you, or something that you're going to struggle to work through that you'd like to talk about?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I'm actually going back to my job after being unemployed for 6 or 7 months.
Oh, okay.
And I'm really weary about going back to that, because I feel like that puts me back in a place when I was in a bad mental state, and when I was really struggling with my past toxic relationship, plus a lot of issues with self-worth. I feel like the past 6 to 7 months have really helped me learn who I am, and I'm scared to go back to that place before that, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm hearing is that maybe were you laid off of your job because of COVID, and you haven't been there because of that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And before, when you were at your job, was when you were with your boyfriend at the time?
Yes, I feel like, to be honest, I feel like the past year and a half of my job there was filled with very negative emotions because it was so charged. It wasn't the job itself, it was the fact I was going into work dealing with the loss of grandparents, loss of family members, the loss of sense of myself, and then the loss of feeling not good enough in that relationship. So I feel like I identify the two.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally
I associate the two, the better way to say it. I associate the job with the negative feelings of feeling, worthless.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that now that you have to go back to work after being gone for so long and kind of getting over these things, is that you're feeling a little bit triggered. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit more about that specific relationship that you mentioned and what happened the last time that you were at work and dealing with those relationship problems?
Absolutely. So, when we started dating, I was already at the job. I was, I was pretty established there. And when I met him, I should have known the red flags right away. But, I feel like maybe we as humans or as positive, wishful thinkers, that we don't think that way. We don't, we choose to turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of red flags I should have listened to, and I didn't. He had just gone back from being overseas in the military. He, was definitely had a past of partying. He had a past of infidelity, and I kind of ignored that because I thought I was going to be the one that was going to change him. And I think I was to an extent. I don't think that he kept up a lot of his bad behaviors, but there was certainly a certain level of manipulation there, and maybe even narcissistic tendencies. And during our relationship, not only was he unemployed the whole duration, he did not find a job because he was going through his own issues. But I myself had my own personal family issues and lost two people very close to me in my family.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And I think it was a combination of everything of him being unemployed, me grieving, like a grief that I'd never experienced in my life. I've been very blessed to not experience a lot of grief.
Yeah.
So for the first time, I was like, oh my God, what are these feelings?
Right.
And him being in his somewhat selfish nature, he was not a shoulder to cry on or a soft spot to land. He was more suck it up, get over it, and then because of my behaviors and my sorrows, he would go the other way and he would go out and he would mess around with other girls and he would treat me badly and he would manipulate me and he would go on drinking bingers for days, and it would just cause these big, huge fights. And it ultimately made me feel like there was something wrong with me when I was just reacting to a very normal human reaction to being emotionally abused, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I associate my time at my job with that because I had to get up and put on a happy face every single morning and not care if anything was okay.
Right.
And I felt like the second I lost my job and I let go of him, I let go of that whole point of my life, I now have to go back to that, and that scares me.
Right. So you're scared that you're going to go back to your job and those feelings that you felt before are going to come back up.
Yes.
Right. Do you have any contact with him currently?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
But it's a very minimal basis. It's texting here and there.
Okay.
It's not anything like it was prior.
Okay, so there's no way you'd go back to your job and have these feelings arise and then reach out to him?
I guess I could, but it wouldn't be at the capacity that I could drive to his house.
Okay.
See him face to face. It would be at a very minimal, like, I'm sorry, he would, and his response, if I did reach out, would probably be, I'm sorry for that way, and that was it. And I wouldn't hear from him for another 24 hours.
Okay, so it would be more superficial and it wouldn't be to the level that it was before.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I think that we can give you some really good tools to work on using cognitive behavior therapy to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And I really want you to get back to work and thrive there and not be triggered. And I think that we're going to get you to a space where that's going to happen. So before we wrap up, I want to give you the chance to give me some feedback. How are you feeling about our session today?
I feel great. I'm excited. I think that, we definitely connect. I feel like you're understanding and you listen and you don't just brush me off, which I appreciate.
Absolutely.
And I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. So I will see you next week, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.